27 club and calling my name, trying to go like Hendrix and Kurt Cobain. Yeah, 27 bottles and I can't walk straight. See you motherfuckers in the Hall of Fame.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry about that delay.
It's chill. I've just been going down a YouTube rabbit hole, you know.
Oh yeah, I know all about that. I was recording and I didn't fucking realize like 30 minutes had passed.
It be like that sometimes, dude.
It does. You know, you want to get that riff just right, so I know you probably know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What type of thing you working on?
Well, it's this solo project I've been working on for about 2 years. Lots of genres. It's kind of industrial, experimental shit.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always like to start out by asking, like, what are you working on right now?
What am I working on right now? I am I'm wrapping up production for an album.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I finished writing it a couple months ago, and now I'm just at the phase of just making sure I get all the arrangements right and build the best arc and colors for the song that I can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there, kind of anything you can tell us? Is there a concept, or is it just kind of shit you've been working on?
Yeah, it's definitely a concept record.
Nice.
It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. It's called Vices.
Okay.
And it's inspired by the 7 Deadly Sins.
Nice.
I wanted to do something with this this concept for a long ass time. Back when I was playing in a metal band back in 2015, I tried to get the band to go in that type of direction, and they weren't really down with concept heavy shit, and so it just kind of fell apart there. But I just put the idea on the shelf, and it came back years later now that I'm doing my own thing.
That's got to feel good. I know that's when you're in a group with multiple members, sometimes things you want to do get overshadowed, so I'm sure that feels good to be able to come back and revive that.
Oh, absolutely, dude. This record is something that I've needed to make for probably a decade now, but I'm just now at the point as an artist where not only have I developed in my vision of what I want, but I'm also so much more fluid in executing and blending different styles. This record is oppressively heavy. It is.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking intense, but it's something that needed to happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear it. I was going to ask you, if you compare this to your other portfolio of work, is it a lot different? And can you hear kind of a change?
Yeah, it overall, my song Two-Face that's out right now is the closest to the aesthetic of the record. A lot of it is pretty short songs that are there to get in, fuck shit up, get out.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the out of the 7 songs on the record, 4 of them are just blistering pace, kind of not quite as extreme as the grindcore mindset where, those micro songs, but
right.
They're deliberately made to be very quick listens, and if you want to hear that part again, you got to push play again.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's definitely on the heavy end of the spectrum. A lot more screaming on this. Like overall less melodic, but the melodies that are there, I really make them count.
Oh yeah. Do you have a preference? Like, is there a style of music in general that you prefer to make, or is the funnest?
That answer just keeps changing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Over the years, man, I've made so many different types of music in so many different projects, both on my own and in collaboration or as a hired gun. I mean, my first solo project was like prog rock, instrumental stuff, and then I did a folk acoustic project. But then I was also playing in a metal band, and I mean, I've done shit for pop punk projects and for disco projects, and I'm currently producing for like a rock and roll type artist. I gotta keep mixing it up because I get bored real quick.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, shit, that's a huge portfolio of work there.
It happens, man. I mean, I've been, like, one thing I love about being in LA is that there's just so much to sink your teeth into.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, for a while before I started working as Neptvne, I was just gigging as a guitarist and bassist for whoever would hire me, whatever they wanted me to play.
Me too.
So, like, so that got me into some interesting situations. Like, there was one point in 2016, I remember I recorded acoustic guitars for a pop punk ballad, and then had disco rehearsal playing bass.
Oh, wow.
And then played a metal show at night. Like, it was a wild day, but I look back on it fondly.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like to hear stuff like that. You know, I was in Anaheim, California for about 4 years, and really, you know, that's nothing close to LA, but there was a whole different thing going on.
Oh, yeah. Anaheim's a whole scene on itself.
Yeah. And I was the same thing. I was literally like, whoever would hire me.
Yup. That's one way to do it. How long did you do that for?
I was in Anaheim for 4 years, and then when I came back to Salt Lake, I kind of just got back to my solo roots.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny, man. Being in a major market is like both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, there's always people to learn from and like pick new shit up from and just like absorb with each other. But then also it's really easy to get caught up in the game of what other people are doing. Definitely,
yeah, I've noticed that. And you know, shout out to Anaheim, because I wasn't really totally into punk, but that when I was up there, that totally changed my perspective.
Nice.
And I wanted to ask you, you know, how and why did you come up with the name Neptvne?
Ooh, good question. Well, I had been looking for the name of a solo project for a while. I was in a duo project with my friend Connor, who eventually split off to do his solo project as Cozy Boy. And, like, in that phase, like, this is like 2016, 2017 maybe that we split. And at that point, I just started writing new shit, and I was kind of like waiting for a name to hit me. And I was like drafting a bunch of shit, none of it stuck. But then like one day, like I was thinking about the V thing, and like the band name, like several different bands like Paris and Churches doing that type of thing. And I really liked that device. And I was like reading some bullshit, probably some astrology shit, I don't know. But I was reading about, like, the word Mercury came across my vision. And like I thought, ooh, Mercury with the V would be fucking sick. Yeah. And like I sat on it for a second, and like like, I really loved the way it looked. I loved the way it sounded, but it just kind of like, it wasn't the right color.
Right. Yeah.
And so I like just kind of dug into this, like read more about space shit, and then I found Neptune, and it just clicked, and I felt like I got like struck by lightning. And of course I like do the quick look, and it's like, yeah, there's no significant artist spelled that way. And like at the time I kind of like made myself like put it down and keep drafting new ideas until I like was ready to release something or whatever. But then so I was at my friend's Christmas party, and I was tripping acid, and I got a little overwhelmed with the party and everything. Like, it was just really loud and rowdy in there, you know, doing what parties do. And so, like, I took a step outside, and I listened to one of the demos I've been working on, and it was like full moon or damn near close to it, and I was listening to this demo, looking at the moon, and I swear to God, dude, the moon just told me, like, bro, stop looking.
Wow.
It's Neptune. You've already found it. Just now go.
Yeah.
So I had to listen to that. I was like, all right, this is what I decided. I decided on December 22nd, 2017 was the day I decided, and that day is just burned in my memory. So.
Hell yeah, that's interesting. Do you think, I want to ask, do you think like the blue hair is kind of trademark now for the name?
That's part of it, yeah, man. Like it all, I mean, blue's always been my favorite color.
Right.
So it just kind of like fits, but I mean, I've considered what Neptune would look like with different hair, and I'm like, I'm considering other possibilities.
Right, yeah.
Whether a change in style or change in color or both. Like I've always kind of wanted purple hair or like lilac or something.
Yeah,
that might be fun at
cool.
some point. Yeah. But I mean, Neptune being blue, it's just kind of like it's. I don't know. It's obvious, but it works.
Yeah, it works. And you know, I think it's definitely done well for you because, you know, I network a lot the East Coast, down in the South, and you know, if I mention your name, it seems like everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, I did some shows over there in the summer, and I'm originally from Florida, actually. But I've been in LA like 10 years now, which is fucking crazy, but hell yeah, man, like I'm glad to hear it seems to be sticking.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's interesting you brought up the acid thing because I remember, I think I just turned like 16 or some shit, and you know, I'd been playing guitar since I was 7, but I never really like considered putting it out there, I guess. And I remember my cousin came over with a bunch of mushrooms. And he was putting on all these different records, and I was tripping hard, and I was like, you know what, it just came to me, I was like, I'm gonna fucking do that, and ever since, it's just seemed to inspire me in some way.
Yeah, dude, like there's something to it, there's a magic of it. Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
Right, but I mean, it's crazy, dude, because I mean, the topic is still somewhat of a taboo for a lot of people, but I know for myself that I've had a lot of pivotal life moments and realizations through the window of psychedelics.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, my journey would not be what it's been if it hadn't been for what I'd seen through those experiences. Yeah,
exactly. I couldn't have explained it better. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, man. It's a crazy world inside your mind.
Yeah, it is. So, you know, could you kind of give me a short comparison between the Florida music scene and the LA music scene, and do you like one better in particular?
I mean, part of it is, like, again, I've been in LA for 10 years now, so I spent my childhood in Florida, whereas adulthood in LA, so it's not exactly apples to apples. But,
Right.
But, like, for where I grew up, which is, like, Clearwater near Tampa,
Okay,
like, when I was in high school, the things that were really happening in the local scene were a lot of, like, pop punk and ska,
Right.
and a good bit of, like, the metalcore type thing, and, like, I guess out there's just, like, a more natural sense of camaraderie. Like, I guess there's less pretension.
yeah. Right, yeah, I could
There's-
see that.
Yeah, I mean, because LA, like, love it or hate it, but everybody's trying to be somebody here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean, especially in the arts, it's just kind of unavoidable. It's part of what makes the city unique.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's something really motivating about that, where it's like, here there's a lot of people trying to improve themselves, a lot of people trying to hustle, whereas a lot of people in Florida are just trying to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that, like, it's really easy to lose touch of. Like, I feel like being in LA just, like, makes you move and think in tighter orbits. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, like, everything happens faster.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So,
You know, I've never really
Yeah,
thought about it like that. That's pretty cool, you know. I never really thought about it being like, you know, it's kind of like sink or swim, so you gotta kind of use it as motivation.
oh yeah, dude. Holy shit. I mean, there's so much sink or swimness out here.
Yeah.
Whereas in Florida or in many other places where the local competition's not as intense, it's less sink or swim and more of, like, float.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, I mean, I know that I would not be the artist I am today if I hadn't been in the city, and if I hadn't, I mean, I went to USC, I studied both business and music, and
Nice.
that school and the community around it, like, kicked my ass, rocked my world, and, like, put me on a new level for growth. And so, like, I wouldn't trade it, though there are things that I miss.
Right, yeah, definitely. And I wanted to ask you, do you remember, I think it was January 27th, the kind of now infamous tour, but when you were here...
That fucking tour, dude. Yeah.
When you were here, was that your first time in Utah?
It was my first time as a solo artist in Utah.
Okay.
I played Salt Lake City before. I was playing with a band called Tempting Fate. We were opening for We Came as Romans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forget the name of the venue. Was it the Complex or something like that?
Oh, yeah, I know the Complex.
That sounds right.
Yeah, the Complex, yeah. That's a good place.
Yeah, I mean, those shows were fun as fuck. So, second time in Salt Lake.
And I feel like everybody has this, like, SLC punk idea in their mind. But, you know, those two times you played here, you know, how'd you like it and how would you describe it?
Such a blast. Like, I mean, the two shows were at, like, different levels, you know, different sides, but
Right.
the underlying feeling was pretty similar. Like, I mean, just, again, it's very different compared to being in LA, but at both shows, I just wound up meeting and like hanging out with people, just like smoking and bullshitting outside both shows without any context of who I was or what I was doing or anything like that. Like, it eventually might come up that I'm performing or that I did perform, but like, I mean, there's just a like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah,
a certain approachability and face value-ness that that's just really refreshing.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember you did a Nirvana cover. Was it what was it?
There's something in the way.
Yeah.
But like, good recall. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, and that really caught my attention, and you know, I love those kind of shows because it was such a mixture, and you know, I met a lot of cool people that night, and I remember I had heard about you, but then actually seeing you live really like turned me on to the whole thing.
Hell yeah, man. Glad to hear it. Like, that show was a special one for me, man. It just clicked so hard that night.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
You know, the energy was great, and you know, like you're saying, it may be different size, but you know, the crowd reception was great.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I mean, that night I really felt like I really just had the crowd in the palm of my hand, dude. They were along for the ride. And like, it just felt so good. Like, there's a unity in that moment. And, like, yeah, it was just exhilarating.
Hell yeah. You know, that night, you know, that's what I love about music, though. I was going through these, like, really bad withdrawals, and I was like, fuck, all right, I can't perform, but I want to be there. And I'm so glad I did, because for that period of time, you know, it just totally took me out of my own problems, and that's what I love about music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, one of my old bandmates has this expression that, like, I mean, being on tour is 23 and a half hours of hell and half an hour of heaven that makes it all worth it.
That is true. That is true.
And, like, that's how I feel about life, dude.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Yeah, music is the shit that makes it all worth it.
For sure. Music's got me through a lot. And I had Keep My Secrets on here, actually, for the first episode. He just, like, fucking called me, like, 3 a.m. out of nowhere.
That sounds like Cole. Yep.
I was, like, dead asleep, and I was like, all right, here we go. I guess we're gonna do this. And,
Rise and shine.
yeah, he was all hype and shit. I'm like, all right, give me a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And,
oh, yeah.
he briefly touched on it, but I just wanted to ask, you know, like, really, like, can you just describe that tour and what the hell was going on?
Oh, God. I mean, it was such a, like, it was such a train wreck start to finish. I was a relatively last-minute add to the tour because somebody else dropped out because of finances or something like that.
Okay, right.
So Jesse, the leader of Deadboy Management.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was through his page that I found out about the opening on the tour. I just, like, I had the opening and availability in my calendar, and I had the money to, like, make something happen, like, to float myself. So I was like, all right. I just chased down everybody to join that tour. And, like, I hit up Cole in his DMs because I had met him at his show he played in LA.
Nice.
Like, the year before. And so I was like, yo, dude, like, you need somebody to fill the spot, I can fucking do it, let's go. And he's like, as far as I know, the tour is booked, but I'll let you know. And like, I just kept following up until they fucking were like, yes, okay, we need someone who will be that someone, do it. 'Cause I'm a persistent motherfucker, if nothing else.
Well, that's a good quality.
Yeah. And so, but like, so the thing is, like, there was a lot of like, I mean, it was a rap tour, but I'm just going to call it a lot of, like, rock and roll bullshit going on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And Jesse had some issues. The night the tour exploded was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And, like, Jesse skipped his set that night, which pissed off some of the other dudes. He was, like, hooking up with a girl in the van type of shit.
Right.
And at the end of the night, people are trying to leave, like, trying to go to the place where we're all crashing. And, like, I wasn't here for the end finale of what turned out to be the dead end of the tour.
Yeah.
I had made a lady friend at the show and went home with her because we weren't leaving town that night. And I'm so grateful that I wasn't there because, like, I just get a call, like, I don't know, maybe an hour after I left the venue. Trey, Jesse's out. We're picking you up right now. We're leaving town. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And so I, like, gradually put it together over the, like, couple hours after they picked me up. To, like, we wound up driving all through the night to fucking Colorado. But like, apparently what happened is that, like, some type of, like, spat started fighting. Like, people started bitching at Jesse. And he was high as fuck, as always. But then also, like, there was either alcohol, a white powder, or both in the picture. Again, I wasn't there to witness his behavior.
Right.
But, like, something fucky, and he shouldn't have been driving, but he insisted on driving. And, somehow in the middle of this, like, fight bullshit, like, not like a verbal fight, he slammed the gas on the van. And this is when, like, the side door of the van was still open.
Oh, man.
The photographer of the van was half in, half out, wound up falling out of the van and the alleyway.
Fuck.
And like, he's skirting down this alleyway, and it's just, like, clearly reckless driving, and, like, one man's already out for the count, and so Cole takes it upon himself to yank the keys out of the ignition. Good move.
Yeah, definitely.
And then start punching Jesse repeatedly. Questionable move. But, like, gotta do what you gotta do to an extent. I wasn't there. I don't know. But it wound up being, like, 4 dudes collectively telling Jesse what they thought of him. Physically, and just, like, left him on the side of the road type of shit. Like, it was not pretty, but, like, at the same time, he was, like, I mean, driving intoxicated, and not just driving intoxicated, but driving violently. So, like, I mean, he was, like, everybody in the van, out of all the, like, dozen people, they were all like, Trey, we could have died tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It could have been
deadly. I
deadly.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it easily could have been deadly. So, like, we're all lucky to be alive, and I was lucky I wasn't there at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good thing you met that lady friend, huh?
Yeah, dude, shout out Marie. Yeah. That was an interesting, like, accidental savior moment right there. But, yeah.
You know, I remember Jesse, he messaged me, and he's like, yeah, we're going to be in Salt Lake. And he's like, I really like one of the bands that you manage. Can you get them to play? I was like, yeah, sure. And then we show up, and I'm like, ah, shit, because, you know, this is some heavy death metal. And I'm just thinking like, oh shit, how's this gonna go? So I'm a little nervous, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, all right, fuck it, just go out there and do it. And about 3 minutes in, or maybe a little later than that, but I remember seeing Cole walk in and just start kicking people.
That sounds like Cole.
And I was like, oh, okay, this isn't going too bad.
Yeah, we'll get along just fine.
Oh man. Yeah, I had never actually heard the story in that much detail. Like, I knew bits and pieces, but wow, that's insane.
Yeah, dude, it's just another one of those stories that builds up over the years when you keep doing this shit. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you could like take me through your recording process. You know, how does it start and how does it end?
Well, it starts with Euphoria, ends up at Euphoria, and then like lukewarm. Well, I did it. On to the next one.
Yeah, I know that
but,
feeling.
I mean, there's a couple different ways that songs can come. Like sometimes, I guess like it depends on whether I get a vocal idea first or whether I get an instrumental idea first. That's the fundamental fork.
Right.
And like my most important thing is just getting the song from getting the full timeline of the song established of like what sections of the song happen when, and then I figure out the full arrangement and what the beat is like and everything else later a lot of the time. Like for me, the story and arc of the song is the most important, and once I get that, everything else just kind of falls into place, and it's a matter of polish.
Yeah, I can relate to
that. The polishing process is forever, but like...
Yeah.
forever. But that's a blessing and a curse of like, art is never finished, only abandoned. But I would really struggle to abandon my babies. So like, I sit on them for a while.
And, generally like, where do you get inspiration for lyrics? Or I guess more in particularly, like, what really kind of inspired the concept of your new record?
Well, okay, so these are two separate questions. And the question is actually relatively simple. Like, I'm not a freestyler by any sophisticated notion.
Not me either.
I will sing syllables with it, and a lot of the time the syllables that just kind of bullshit come from my mind will resemble the syllables of the final lyric. And so once I get the melody down, I'm kind of painting by numbers almost, and just kind of following the sound and let the meaning fill in itself.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting.
When it comes to getting the right syllables right, when I'm working with different artists or producing for them, I'm like, that word's not the word we want. We gotta switch something up there because the syllables are just wrong colored or shaped or some shit.
Yeah.
I have some mild synesthesia, and so it's just literally the shape of vowels is something that feels very real to me, and so it's just trying to put a square in a round hole or whatever the fuck. So that's part of it. Then other question though regarding what inspired the concept of this record.
Yeah.
A lifetime of growing up with Catholic guilt will do some shit to you. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
That's a major part of it. I guess part of what underlies this whole record is that everybody has to carry the weight of their own faults and or push the weight of their faults on other people and everyone else, and we are all carrying the consequences of other people's faults on our back as well.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
So, yeah, there is no escape from hardship or sin. It's just a matter of when and who put shit on us. I'm not a practicing Catholic, and I'm influenced by Christianity, though I don't consider myself strictly a Christian. I guess the concepts of the 7 deadly sins, which namely are pride, greed, lust, envy, sloth, gluttony, and wrath.
Right.
Those are all things that I have experienced myself and or have experienced the fallout of other people's reactions with those things. And we've just all got a lot of shit to deal with that's easy to just sweep under the rug and try. But I've found that there's a lot of growth in facing our demons head on, and that's what this record is about.
Definitely, I really like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I think there's some important stuff in there that definitely can be used throughout life if, used correctly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, buried in all the dogma and all the social group issues.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strong meaning and moral lessons and philosophical principles
Definitely.
to absorb.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, at this point, just a quick plug of my own personal concept of universalism. I believe that all religions are approaching truth through their own cultural or personality lens, and that the lesson lies in the Venn diagram of the truths from each of these individuals being compiled into the collective.
Okay, yeah, I never really thought about it like that, but I could definitely see that, because being in multiple religions, I definitely think, they're pushing towards something, and, the cultural and different methods, vary, but yeah, I think there's something there for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, the underlying of all of it is be a good person.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
Right, and they've all got different means of defining a good person and how a good person fits into society and what a good society is and what the afterlife looks like if there is one. But again, the fundamental axis is be a good person, not just for yourself, but for those around you. So, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. You said it perfectly, because I have kind of the mind of a simpleton. I can only remember so many things at one time, but that's exactly how I describe it to other people.
Hell yeah, man, brick by brick.
Exactly. So, I've noticed this kind of is a pattern in my interviews. It just fucking jumps from topic to topic. But
I support it, dude. Hit me. Let's left turn this bitch.
Yeah, I like that. It's the hell, I don't even know what I'm gonna ask next. It just fucking, it just happens. And I wanted to ask you, does a big record deal or anything like that interest you?
It would have to be the right. It would have to be the right one because, I have been in situations with record labels involved that wound up just killing everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I've also seen how record labels the right label and the right situation can change someone's life. So, I guess I've been around the block to know that, like, there is no silver bullet.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people think a record deal is a silver bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They'll learn quick.
So I guess, like, yes, but I'm not banking on it.
Right, but if the circumstances did present themselves and it seemed right, you know.
Yeah, I would have to consult with the moon, but that's my compass.
Yeah, definitely. The moon will guide you. Just take a little bit of acid and talk to the moon.
Hey man, like, I don't knock until you try it. It's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, if you were to, like, to you, what is your biggest achievement to date?
For me, my biggest achievement to date, well, one of the songs on the record is featuring an artist that I grew up listening to. And, I shouldn't, I feel like it's too early to drop who it is.
Right, yeah, I understand.
But when, I don't mind telling you off the record, and also, whenever, it's just, dude, this band changed my life, and to have a song with one of the people in that band is, like, regardless of any commercial results, regardless of any impact on the concept of having a career, like, my inner child teenager can die happy because I made that shit happen.
Yeah.
And so, like that's something just, like, there's nothing, like, holy fuck, dude. I feel like, yeah, literally from one of my, like, top 5 bands of all time. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's going to be one of the singles. So, look out for my song Envy when that comes.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's got to feel great.
It really fucking does, dude. Like, it's just, life has some interesting twists and turns. And so, like, the fact that this was even a possibility and, like, even remotely made sense, like, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. I'll definitely look out for that. Do you have an idea of a release date?
One of my biggest downfalls is putting things on a calendar. And so, like, at this moment, like, it's ready when it's ready is kind of just, like, how I have to be.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have other stuff coming out before this because I'm going to be, like, kind of, like, wrapping up the remnants of, like, I still got some material from before I started working on Vices that I feel like it should come out before Vices does for the sake of, like, continuity of
definitely
the evolution of Neptune. So, like, I've got some other shit in the works. But there's going to be a lot coming out this year.
Hell yeah, I like to hear that. You know, this fucking pandemic,
Yeah.
You know, how has that affected you personally?
It's crazy, man. Like, before the pandemic, I felt like all I needed was time alone to work on my art. And now
That's
I
all you
realize
have.
how short-sighted that was. Yeah, it's been been a real challenge to stay grounded, motivated, inspired. And I mean, it's really forced me to like re-examine life issues and like different career balances. Like, I mean, I teach music privately, and also I tutor academic stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Having to juggle that in pandemic world with music stuff, it's been a lot, but I mean, like, we've all been through a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the pandemic has been a big thing of, like, be careful what you wish for. For this introvert that just wanted to stay home, now I'm fucking sick of being at home and I can't be inspired on my own. It's fucking bullshit. But, like,
yeah,
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that definitely, like, relatable because, you know, being an introvert most of my life, and then now I'm forced to be, I'm like, fuck, I really miss anything. Yeah, like, shit.
Yup, I miss society. Never would have thought.
I know, right? What do you think has been the most effective way of promoting yourself?
I mean, being a real fucking person and talking to people.
Yeah,
and just getting to know people, like, that's a major part of it. Like, in a world where everybody is, like, focused on, like, countable metrics, like, I realized a while ago, like, back in 2017, 2018, I caught up with an old friend, and, like, I realized, like, by this point, like, I'm no longer chasing numbers, I'm chasing hearts.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah, like, however many people I can make a real substantive impact on, like, I mean, dude, the fact that, like, I've had someone, like, this kid Destiny in my DMs telling me that some of, like, the insights I've given her have helped her calm down through a panic attack. The fact that, like, there's like, this kid Chase that, like, me coming out as non-binary inspired them to come out as non-binary, and, like, that's just, like, shit money can't buy.
Yeah.
Like, just, I mean, there's this kid in Morocco that, like, Rita has just been, like, supporting me for so long and, like, has been consuming everything I've ever put out and shared my shit. Like, I don't care if I ever make a dime off of that person. That love is fucking real, and, like, that sustains me on a level that, like, just keeps me, like, remembering what the point is of why I started all this. And I started so that I could be an artist for kids today that, like, need the same things I needed when I was that age.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. And, you know, there's really no better feeling in the world than hearing that something you made really helped somebody.
Right, dude. I mean, like, the fact that, like, my song 27 Club, that, like, people have, like, opened up to me about suicidal issues with that song being a conversation starter, just, like...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's few things that could mean more.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I seen you play that song, I was like, yeah, okay, this person's got something, you know, there's something special there.
We don't fuck around, man. We don't fuck around.
Yeah. Hey, you're gonna have to do a show in Morocco one day.
That's the idea, dude. I swear to God, I'm gonna make it happen. Like,
Hell yeah.
And like, I mean, like the number one place that I want to play that I haven't yet is Mexico City.
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, that somehow that place has been like my number one city in the world by like, I mean, it's over double the next city, and it's always been like that. And it's just like, I swear to God, bro, I've never been there. I don't know a soul there, but like, whenever I do play there, shit's gonna go down.
That's what I was gonna say when there's a Neptune show in Mexico City. That shit's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, bro. Like, seriously, I mean, obviously I want to continue playing the U.S. whenever the fuck that's possible.
Oh, yeah.
But playing Mexico is like the next level dream that I've got going.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Setting the intention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Is there any advice you would give to somebody who's just starting out and is kind of confused about this whole industry?
Yeah, always be learning. And if you're the smartest or the best or the most talented or the most motivated person in the room, go find other rooms.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important.
Say what?
I said that's important. You gotta find a like-minded group.
Yeah, and ultimately, probably several like-minded groups.
Oh yeah, definitely. The more the better.
Yeah. And so, and like there's a lot to be said for just going with your gut, and that's something that applies as a writer. It applies when trying to pick what to release when. It applies for who to work with. I mean,
oh yeah,
like really owning your intuition is not just for art, but just for life.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, really. Yeah, I think that's all great.
I'm sure I could have said it better, or someone else could have said it better, but I'm just doing the best I can. So.
Hey, but the points are there. That's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a big one. I've only got to ask like twice out of like 30 episodes because I always fucking forget. But I love... that's one thing. If I could have anything, I'd have a better fucking memory. But I love hearing the answers. Do you experience writer's block, and when you do, what brings inspiration back into your life?
I absolutely do. Absolutely do.
I've only heard one person say they never had writer's block. In the back of my mind, I was like,
fuck that person.
I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, either they're not being honest with themselves, they're not being honest to you, or they're just that fucking lucky. So, like, it's entirely possible, but I wouldn't count on it. So when I've got writer's block, I mean, I will often force myself to change gears entirely. I mean, when I hit a phase of being really stuck on vices, I just, like, made myself go write some other bullshit, some, acoustic-style songs that completely different color palette, completely different world.
Yeah, something fresh.
Right, and that's something I'm really excited about as the arc of Neptune's project. Like, I mean, I'm doubling down on this heavy shit, but also I've got some completely unrelated material, and like I just kind of want to all be under the same umbrella of Neptune. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so imposing constraints and forcing some type of change from your normal style. So, I mean, an example of a way around writer's block would be like, all right, if you're a lyrics first person, force yourself to come up with chord progressions or a beat. And if you're a beat first person, force yourself to write away from a beat, just completely a cappella. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, like one of the songs, Greed, on Vices, I wrote all of my lyrics and like had the delivery in mind before the beat was even in the picture. And it's one of only 2 songs on the record that I didn't produce, but I found the beat, or like I co-produced it, I guess, because I found the beat and then I added a lot of shit to it, namely guitars and like.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. But, like, that song, like, I guess that song came to me in its own way of just it's the rap-heavy song on the record, and it just, I couldn't have come up with it over a beat. I had to come up with it independently and then find a beat to make it work. So, again, imposing constraints, forcing yourself to shift lanes, the equivalent of like tying your right hand behind your back and just seeing what the fuck happens when you go with your left, like, it's a lot like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I wanted to tell you this, but my damn bad memory.
Hey man, you're on it now, so hey at least, don't worry about that shit.
Yeah, at least it came around. I really like that name, Vices, and, you know, because the 7 deadly sins, and, you know, I think that name, Vices, just really sums it up.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. That name, shout out to my boy, Eli, my agent and good friend going way back now. But I had told him about the concept, and I was originally thinking of the title being 7 Deadly Sins, but, like, he like suggested Vices, and like for a long time I was like, no man, it's gotta be 7 Deadly Sins, and I was like, I don't want to change it, but when he suggested that, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's something to that.
Absolutely. So yeah. And also like shout out again to Eli, because he's the one that arranged the deal with my like hero artist that's featured on the record. So like, yeah,
that's
props.
incredible. And you know what inspired me to get you on here is I wanted one song on this album I've been working on that's just fucking thrown in at the end that just throws people off. And I was like, listening to it a few times, and I was like, who does this remind me of? And it took me a few days, and I was like, oh shit. Kind of like some things about it, I was like, oh yeah, Neptune.
Hell yeah, man! I'd love to hear it.
And I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna hit him up.
Hell yeah, man! I'm glad to like have a little bit of real estate in your brain for you to make that connection. That's like, I'm humbled.
And that's a thing I want to ask you about. I don't know if this has happened to you, or if it were to happen, would like bootleg things, would that be kind of a compliment, or would that offend you?
Oh God, I would love it. Like yes. I mean, as someone that like I collected some bootleg bullshit when I was a kid,
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
me
it
too.
didn't take away from like the love I had for the official product. If anything, it enhanced it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like if there's videos of my shows or like demos that leak, like by all means, milk that shit, throw it around. Like obviously, there's nothing quite like the finished product, but also there's nothing quite like a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely. I like to. Some of my favorite bands, you know, sometimes I like to listen to bootlegs, and it does make you appreciate, you know, the final product in a different way.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with the band Guns N' Roses, like absolutely obsessed.
Me too.
And just downloaded everything I could find. Like, I mean, before Chinese Democracy came out, dude, I had heard like at least a third of the songs in some format or another, whether it was like live show bootlegs or studio leaks or songs that weren't actually Guns N' Roses but were labeled Guns N' Roses for the hype, like, and having to find out what they actually were pre-Shazam, you know.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, like, I still, speaking of Chinese Democracy, like, that album was quirky as fuck because it was only sold at Best Buy. And so, like, that came out in what, 2008, 2006?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I went to fucking Best Buy. Not only did I buy a copy, but, like, I asked them if I could have one of the promo posters, and they let me have one. And I still have that shit to this day in the closet at my mom's house. But, like, yeah, so... but again, with that band, like, I consumed all the bootleg material I could possibly find. And so if anyone's motivated to consume Neptune in that way, like, by all means, like, be my guest.
Hell yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. And I love that Guns N' Roses reference because I remember I was like 9 years old and my dad, he was digging through some old shit, and he gave me this, like, 91 tapestry and of Guns N' Roses, and when I was, like, 9 years old, it just, like, my fucking brain exploded.
Yeah, dude. God. It's crazy, the mythology of all that shit that, like, it can take on.
Oh, yeah. It's insane. And I got one last question for you, but before I ask this, I'm going to say this off the record. I'm going to edit this part out. I have to say, out of like 30-something episodes or conversations, this is definitely one of the better ones.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to have to cut that out.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, dude, I don't think you have to. Personally, I think, like, sharing, like, because you're not down-talking anybody else.
Right.
And that's the key distinction. Like, the only person that's been down-talked on this episode is Jesse, but, like, you know, low-key fuck Jesse Taylor. So,
yeah.
like, it's okay. It's a meme now. Sorry, Jesse. But anyway, but, yeah, so, like, I vote... I mean, I don't vote, but, like, I encourage you to keep that statement in if that resonates with you, and, like, I don't begrudge you if you choose to cut it, but, like, by all means, man, like, I'm happy to be here, and, like, I'm glad that's, like, showing through the nature of this.
yeah, you know what? You're right. You know, I'm a big believer in the truth, and it's the truth, so I'm going to leave it in there.
Yeah, man, and not only is it the truth, but it's harmless truth, so...
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I know maybe a couple people will message me and be like, what the hell, man? But
what the hell, man? Yeah, there's always going to be somebody, but, like, we don't worry about that.
yeah, it's harmless. So, lastly, I wanted to ask you, what does your music mean to you, and what do you want it to mean to your fans?
My music, like, my artistry is about being yourself shamelessly, or as close to shamelessly as possible, and encouraging others to do the same. And I really try and instill the same sense of self-ownership in everyone, and especially through the medium of music. Like, yeah, I mean, just to become the most authentic and, like, fulfilled version of yourself.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
Yeah, man, that's what's up.